Hey guys, and welcome to one of my favorite videos to make as well as to watch on BookTube other than book hauls, and it is the monthly wrap-up, and this is for the month of July. I've read a pretty good chunk of books. I think I've read a total of 12 or 13 books with 5 manga volumes. This month was very hectic for me. I had a big presentation deadline, and I had to do a lot of experiments in my lab, and with Ramadan it was just really hard. Just want to say first of all, Eid Mubarak to all my awesome followers and subscribers, Muslim subscribers and followers, and whoever celebrates Eid. And I hope you guys had a fantastic Eid day or break. I was only free the first day. The other times I had to actually go to university. Point is, despite all that, I was still able to read a pretty decent amount of books, and I'm happy for that. So to start off, I'm going to show you the manga that I read. I read 5 volumes of Fruits Basket. I read volumes 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4. Currently it's July 31 and this is volume 9. I'm hoping to read this volume this day. If not, then I'll just keep it for my TBR. But I'm really enjoying it. Volume 8 wasn't one that I really liked. I gave it 2 stars. But I'm excited to continue on because the person that's lending me these books said that they kind of grow as the volumes progress. So that's really exciting for me. The next book that I read is Amy and Roger's Epic Detour by Morgan Matson. This is for the Contemporary Lovers group. And yeah, we have a live show soon, August 2nd, hopefully, and I'm really excited. I've already read this book before, so this was sort of a reread, but because I've read it such a long time ago, and that was way before I started blogging and being so critical in books and such, I completely forgot everything about this book, and I previously gave it 4 stars, but after reading it, I gave it a full 5 stars. It was so good, and I'm really excited to read Morgan Matson's other books now. The next book that I finished in August is Joe Baker's Longbourn. I already read 150 before the month started, but this book was really long. It's only 320 pages, but it took such a long time for me to finish it. There's barely any dialogue in this book, which I felt was the reason why it just took so long for me to finish. I did enjoy it. I liked the new perspective, or just the whole new story here, even though it's set in the Pride and Prejudice world. One thing I have to mention is that most of the Pride and Prejudice characters, such as Elizabeth Bennet and the dad and such, were portrayed in a not so great light, which I found to be personally offensive to me. But other than that, it was an enjoyable read and I gave it 3 stars. The next book that I read is Reckoning by Carrie Wilkinson. This is a dystopian-ish, dystopian novel. And it talks about a girl who has to go through a test, and she can become either one of the 4 different classes currently, but she gets chosen to be an offering to the king, her along with 32 other people from different areas. So she goes, and no one knows what happens of the people that get chosen and all that stuff, and then she finds out some really creepy things in the castle, and she's just trying to escape. That's what the whole novel is about, and I really enjoyed it. One thing I would like to point out is that even though I did not like the romance at all, it wasn't that big of a deal or a big part of the book, which I'm happy with. I did like the main protagonist. She was very logical and I just really liked her, so 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read is Forget Me by K.A. Harrington. This is a mystery novel and I was super excited for this one. I did end up reading it. I gave it, I think, 3 or 3.5 stars, mainly because the climax, or just the end or the big mystery reveal, was very disappointing, to say the least. And it felt there was a bit of insta-love. And I kind of understand why there would be insta-love, because the main protagonist's, her boyfriend passes away, and then she sees someone online who looks exactly like her boyfriend, and she meets him and she sort of has feelings for him. I feel like it's more moving her feelings from her boyfriend to that new guy because they look so much alike. But other than that, it was pretty entertaining. I did also like the protagonist as well as her best friend, and I gave it, as I told you, 3 to 3.5 out of 5 stars. I have reviews for pretty much all of my review books on my blog, so I will leave all of their links down below if you guys are interested in reading my thoughts in a more eloquent way, because I I'm tired. I just came from university and from the presentation that I was working on for the past 3 weeks. And I'm just so tired. I'm still in my pajamas, so yeah. Next book that I read is Some Boys by Patty Blount, and oh my god, I was so excited for this book. So excited. And then it fell so flat. It was not a happy reading at all. So even though I gave the book 2 stars after I finished reading it, when I wrote my review 2 days ago, it dropped all the way to 1 star. And I will be doing a video review of this one where I just, you know, express all the feelings that I have for this book. And pretty much all the feelings are not good feelings. So if you want a ranty video about this book, be sure to check that out because it is going to come. And all you feminists, stay away from this book. All I can say. So I read 2 e-arcs. The first one is When Past Midnight by Jessica Shervington. This is the US title to her novel Between the Lives. And I was really excited for this one. Another disappointment, not as bad as Some Boys. This one I gave it 2 out of 5 stars, mainly because I just didn't like where the story went. It was very, everything happened too quickly, it was too short. Things were revealed too quickly. The main protagonist did some unrealistic things in my opinion, even though the whole having 2 different lives. Still, the romance was just like insta. That's how insta it was. It was so insta, like, no. I'm kind of disappointed because I really love Jessica Shervington's Violet Eden chapters series, and I think that has one of the best romances in YA books, so it's so surprising to see her write something like this where the romance is just so unappealing and just not cool at all. Next book that I read is Dangerous Boys by Abigail Haas. This is a new novel from Abigail Haas, who wrote Dangerous Girls. She also goes by the name Abby MacDonald, where she's written several contemporaries such as Sophomore Year, like a lot of middle grade-ish contemporaries. Unfortunately, this one has not been picked up by any US publishers or North American publishers. However, it has been picked up in the UK and it is going to get published in the UK. If you guys want to read it, and I suggest you do, be sure to order it from the book depository unless you can find some other place, like whatever, it doesn't matter to me. But my point is you need to read it. Apparently her novels are all like thrillers. This one is more of a psychological thriller, and let me just tell you, the ending freaked me out. Like, I was so like freaked out. Like, it just gave me the shivers. And then I went on Twitter and I'm like, I talked to Raquel and Amanda on like the direct messaging, and I'm like, I can't believe what I just read. I believe what I just read. And we actually might have something really fun for this. We might be doing a live show, not sure yet. We might be contacting the author maybe to be part of the live show, not sure yet. But my point is that I gave this 4 out of 5 stars mainly because I wasn't a big fan of the romance, but to be honest, who cares about the romance when it comes to this book? And I'm definitely going to be picking up her other book, Dangerous Girls, which I heard was mystery thriller, which is amazing. So, and it's on Book Outlet, so that will be my next purchase for sure. So 4 out of 5 stars, and I love the cover. The next review book that I read is The Art of Getting Stared At by Laura Langston. This book comes out, I think, in the beginning of September or end of August, and it is about a girl who finds out that she has a disease called alopecia areata, and basically it means that she slowly or very quickly loses all her hair, not just on her head, but even like her eyelashes and her eyebrows, and like it's a pretty horrible disease. It's not life-threatening, but still, like, confidence-wise and like look-wise, you kind of break down mentally, and psychologically. And that's what you kind of read about, the struggle of the main protagonist, even though all her life she's been very proud of not caring about the way she looks and such, to the point that it kind of becomes like intentional, the way that she just dresses clumsily and all that stuff. But yeah, that all gets explored in the book, and I really liked it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I especially loved the relationship between the girl as well as her stepmom. So her mom had to go to Sudan to do some, services and some work. So she had to spend the 2 months that her mom's away with her dad and her stepmom and her stepsister, her young stepsister. And I love how the complexity of the characters, that they're not just black or white, good or bad. And that's what you kind of see between her and her stepmom, and how their relationship was really bad and how it progressed and developed in the whole novel. That's one of my favorite relationships in this book. There's a romance and it's pretty good, but it's not really something important with the story, pretty much. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole film infusion in here, how the main protagonist is like is developing or producing a film for a scholarship. But overall, I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely check it out when it comes out. Moving on to my last 4 books, which are actually all, or not, oh wait, I have one more review book. The review book that I read, the last one actually, is Jojo Moya's 1+1. This was so good. I read it the day after I got it in the mail. That's like how excited I was for it. And it was really, really good. My first Jojo Moyes try at book, even though I have Me Before You, but I'm definitely going to be reading more of her books because I miss reading chick lits, and this is like perfect chick lit. It has a road trip in there, and it's told from like different POVs, including the main protagonist, her stepson, as well as her daughter, and the guy that was taking them in his car all the way to Scotland because her daughter had to do an Olympiad, a math Olympiad. It was such a fun book, but at the same time it made me tear up several times while reading the book. And one thing worth mentioning is that the dog that the main protagonist and her family owns, the dog is awesome. That's all I can say. 5 out of 5 stars. Again, I have my review down below, which I will link. Now moving on to, I have 2 different buddy reads of 2 different series. If you've seen the top 6 series that are completed that I would like to finish 2014, 2 of those are from there, and I'm actually doing really well with this plan, so I'm happy that I'm sticking to this. But the first is a buddy read that I'm doing with Adib as well as Audress, and it is for Partials by Dan Wells. Actually, many other people have read this book with us. I know some even ended up picking up fragments straight away, so that makes me happy that I got a lot of people started on this trilogy. So I read this. I loved it. I loved it. All the biology and like the bioengineering and like the DNA sequencing, all that stuff just makes me so excited. It really makes me excited. I think if I didn't end up going to chemical engineering, that would definitely have been a field of study that I would have wanted to get into. It was really good. I loved, soaking up all the medical jargon and everything related to that. Even without that, I feel like the story took me by surprise, like so much by surprise. The direction, the author completely threw me off several times. When I thought that the book was going to go this way, it goes that way. So I was very satisfied with this book. Gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And I already borrowed fragments from the library because we are going to continue on with this buddy read specifically for Adib and Audress. So I'm excited, and if you guys have it, you should definitely check out the first one. The next are 2 books from the same series that I managed to read, which is exciting. And the buddy read for these were with Violet as well as Jasprit. And the first is Hex Hall by Rachel Hawkins. We managed to read this rather quickly. They're such fast reads. I couldn't keep up with them. They always had to wait for me. I ended up reading that. We all ended up reading it. We all ended up really enjoying it. But the ending was just so whack and random. Completely different from our expectations because of how breezy the book is. So we wanted to pick up the second one immediately, so I had to wait for both Violet and Jasper to get a copy, and then when they did, we ended up reading Demon Glass by Rachel Hawkins. Funny thing is, a lot of people said that Demon Glass is their favorite book out of the series, specifically Amber from Books of Amber, but I'm sorry, I prefer Hex Hall, by a lot. I really liked Hex Hall way more than Demon Glass. I don't know, I felt like Demon Glass, I hate when main protagonists keep secrets. I just don't like it. So I'm really happy that I managed to read those first 2. And we'll be reading the third one hopefully in August. So here are all the books that I managed to read, along with my 2 ebooks and my other 4 manga volumes. I actually did, I'm really proud of the amount of books that I've read. As I mentioned earlier, it was a very hectic week. So let me know if you guys have read any of these, or which ones you're excited about, or your thoughts on any of the ones, or you agree or disagree with my ratings. It's always interesting to see what other people think. I hope to see you guys in my why do I keep saying July? In my August TBR, and I'm actually looking at it right now, and it's kind of scaring me. There are a lot of books, and I'm afraid. I'm very afraid of how I will be ever able to read everything in August, which is why I'm actually participating in 2 different readathons, but I'll talk about that in my August TBR. So I hope to see you guys there. Bye!